Welcome back to my channel. This is Workplace Sports Talk, and I'm your guy, Tim that Talks. Today we're going to talk about the Titans' first preseason game against the Atlanta Falcons. With observations from the first preseason game from the Titans, which played Atlanta Falcons in Atlanta. The game was really good on the Titans side, but the Falcons not so much, but it's be expected. The Falcons is going through transition right now, but the Titans do have a better roster, and it showed tonight. So there were some good things that I saw from the offense, good to below average on the offensive side of the ball, but the defense was excellent in almost all phases of the ball. So first we're gonna go over the offense. I'm gonna start off with Logan Woodside, who looked really good for the quarterback that's been in the system for a couple of years. He's very familiar. So he made some really good throws tonight if the line gave him time. So we're gonna start off with some quick observations. He looked really good on play action. He looked fast as Ryan Tannehill. So that was good to see, to know if he could step in, he still brings that speed that Tannehill does. He stood tall in the pocket. He made some really good throws when he stood in the pocket and stepped up. He moved effortlessly inside of the pocket when his offensive guards were giving him time to throw the ball. The touchdown throw was a very good throw. It was a back shoulder throw with anticipation. So he threw the ball before the receiver got out of the break, and the catch made from Batson was really good. Matt Barkley looked good for a guy who's going on his first week with the Tennessee Titans. He was ripping the ball down the field, and it was really good to see. It was a stark contrast from Barkley and Woodside. Woodside was more methodical when he was moving the ball. He took the check downs. He took receivers that were more open than not, whereas Barkley came in there throwing it and was wanting the receiver to make a play. He made some throws down the field that were good to see. He underthrew one ball, but he still was trying to move the ball down the field, and that's good. That's what I want to see. So Barkley, to me, has the edge because he is throwing the ball to win games, and that is what you want to see in a backup quarterback or a quarterback coming in for small periods of time. Barkley, to me, has the edge off of what I saw. Woodside is a guy that you're going to be able to put on the practice squad, and I'm okay with that because Barkley was good. Evans looked really explosive tonight. He was hitting the holes very fast. He was catching the ball very nicely, and it was effortless. You could tell he is a running back that is very comfortable catching out of the backfield. He looked really fast up until the point that he got injured. To me, it looked like it was a quad or a hamstring, most likely a hamstring. They said knee, but it like he was hobbling a little bit when he went to the sideline. It kind of looked like the injury he had last year, so that's a concern. But the backups came in. You had Brian Hill and Sargent came in. Sargent stood out to me. He was hitting the holes fast, and he was falling forward for the extra yards. And the young rookie running back coming in, he did some really nice things. I liked what he was doing when he was hitting the holes and falling forward for extra yards. The receivers, on the other hand, very underwhelming for me, especially Marcus Johnson. He was out there in the X position. He looked fine running the routes. He made some blocks. It looked okay, but he didn't have any catches. I don't even know if they threw the ball to him other than maybe one time. So I didn't see much from him. I'm waiting to see more. And also you had McMath, who he was out there quite a bit of time, but doing a lot of run blocking, which is good to see, because to be in this Titans offense, a receiver has to be a good run blocker. And McMath did look good doing those run blocking duties. I wish he would have caught a ball or two. I know Barkley threw him one up in the end zone. He couldn't come down. The ball was underthrown a little bit. Now Batson, on the other hand, as a receiver, I know he caught the touchdown. As a receiver, I didn't like a lot that I saw, especially as a slot receiver. He made a couple good plays. Granted, the DBs were over him and committing a few penalties, but he didn't look he got a lot of separation to me, and he didn't excite me as a potential number 4, maybe number 5 receiver. So there were two guys that caught my eye. Fred Brown, who I haven't heard much about, was really tall and fast receiver. He had a very good sideline catch. Granted, he didn't get his feet down, but it was a good catch all in all. And it's something you like to see from a potential receiver, 4 or 5, maybe 6 on the depth chart. So I did like what I saw from Fred. But the receiver that stole the show was Kinsey. That guy looked really good. He looks like a potential starting slot receiver for an NFL team, especially the Tennessee Titans, who's actually looking for that position. He was fast, he was cutting out of his breaks, he was running really good routes, and he was strong at the point of attack, and he was catching that ball like he was about to eat it. He was hungry for that ball. He was catching everything. Kinsey really stood out to me in the receiving core. All right, concerns that I had. The offensive line was porous at times. On third and long, third and short, it didn't matter. The offensive line was giving up so much pressure to the defense in the middle of the line, especially the guards and the center was giving up a lot of pressures all night. On third and long and third and short, it did not matter. They were giving up too many pressures to the quarterbacks. They were getting Woodside smacked out there. I didn't like what I saw. Thank God it was Woodside, not Ryan Tannehill. They really need to get that together. I think it was Moyer, the center, not a fan of the guards, but Radens didn't look bad out there. They played him at guard and they played him at tackle. He did admirable. There was a couple times where I did notice that his man was whipping past him. So he's got a lot to clean up also, but he did look strong. And when he was able to keep the defense off the quarterback, he looked stout at the point of attack also. But you could tell he does need some time before he's going to be a starter for the Tennessee Titans. Now the kicking battle was very interesting. I was a big fan of McCann's. His ball placement looked really good, whereas the other kicker, he was okay. He's that kind of guy that look like he's gonna miss some easy ones, but make some hard ones. So all in all, the kicking battle was a little bit even. I would give the edge to McCann's though. All right, the defensive side of the ball. The defense stole the show tonight. They were making plays all over the place, especially the interior line. They were almost unstoppable. Okay, I'm gonna start with the DBs first though. Fulton, is very interesting that Fulton was starting on the right side of the line. That's good to see from a second-round pick from last year, that he's getting the trust of the coordinators and Vrabel to play that side. He made a really good pass breakup, and he was playing pretty much man, somewhat press man all night, and I liked what I saw from him. Fulton is going to be a potential starter and maybe a star for the Titans. Good to see Chris Jackson out there. He was playing a slot cornerback, and he played it good. He was on a lot of tackles, and he was playing really good at coverage, so it's promising. It's his position to lose right now. Breon Borders also made some plays at DB, but he was making plays last year also before he got hurt. So he's going to be a good fourth and fifth cornerback for the Titans, could come in to give you some meaningful reps and play as a starter, low-end starter for Breon Borders. So it's good to see that they brought him back and he is still making plays. All right, secondly, we're going to start off with the stars of the game, which was the interior line for the Tennessee Titans. You had Pico, number 94, you had Big Merc, and you had Cooley, number 97, but the guy that stood out the most in the interior was T.R. Tart. He was getting pressure every time the ball was snapped. I like what I see from T.R. Tart. This guy's gonna be really good on Sundays. It's like a really stout run stopper, and he was taking on double teams. And the linebacking core, you had David Long, who was playing really good in coverage. It's good to see that he has stepped his game up to be able to be a coverage linebacker. He looked fast out there and decisive on making plays. He had a really good interception falling back and was reading the quarterback's eyes. So David Long coming along at a pace that he is, at a starting pace, because when it's all said and done, I think the Titans are only going to re-sign either Brown or Evans. Right now, I'm giving the edge to Brown. It's good to know that you got David Long waiting in the wings to be a starter also. Monty Rice, the rookie, he looked really fast out there. He was quick. He was getting to the running backs really fast. I like what I see. He was in coverage. So that's good that he was already in coverage and he was making decisive plays. A couple times he made the Atlanta's quarterback throw the ball away or not even run. So that's good to see. This guy could be a future starter also in a couple years, but he is going to be a special teams player for the Tennessee Titans. But the guy that stole the show for the Tennessee Titans was Rashad Reaver. This guy looked like a man among boys. You can see very quickly that he has got really good hands. When he gets his hands on you, you are not getting away. He was demolishing tackles all night. Nobody could block him. If he didn't get the hurry or the sack, then he was pushing the quarterback into the interior. And that's what I want to see. So He's going to be a good rotational player, but could be a potential starter. If he continues this type of gameplay, it's going to be hard to keep him off the field. So in the next preseason game, if Weaver continues to jump off the page on defense, it's going to be very hard to keep him off the field. As of right now, from the small little bit that I saw from Weaver, it's going to be hard for Landry to play every defensive snap this time, because now he has a real serious threat to take snaps away from him, and I'm happy about that. So 3 outside linebackers that can sack and set the edge, that is good. We haven't had that in quite some time. So I'm pleasantly surprised what I saw from Weaver, and he could be a potential starter for the Titans next year, if not this year. But I haven't seen nobody jump off on a page like this since Keith Bullock when he came in as a rookie, and Javon Curse. So Weaver was a pleasant surprise. All in all, tonight's preseason game was a very good preseason game from the Titans. The defense looked great. The offense has a lot of work to do, especially the receivers. One of these X or Y receivers need to jump out on the page for me. Right now, the slot position is looking good for the Titans. You had Kinsey and maybe Chester Rogers, who also looked good. Chester Rogers looked good returning punts. We might have already established that he's the punt returner right now because he was decisive and he was hitting those holes. So it was good to see, because we haven't had a good punt returner in quite some time. All in all, I was pleasantly surprised by tonight's performance on the defensive side of the ball, and hopefully the Titans can carry this on to the next preseason game, and then on to the regular season against Arizona. All right, Titans fans, thank you for listening. This has been Workplace Sports Talk, and I'm your guy, Tim the Talk. See you next time.